as a neurodivergent person, someone who has ADHD and autism, there's very specific social situations that stress me out. I just want to take some time to talk about it today, present it to you guys, and see, have any of you guys also experienced anything like this? Okay, so this one's really, really weird. And when I say weird, I'm not saying it in a negative way. So I don't want to hear anyone being like, Irene, it's okay. You're not weird. You're perfectly fine. I'm not putting myself down when I say weird. I'm saying weird in a very objective way where this is probably not something everyone on the street would be able to relate to. You know, I have enough self-awareness to know that. I've noticed that when I'm talking on the phone with someone, let's say a doctor, insurance agent, whatever it is, and they need me to spell something out for them, you know how you're supposed to say a word associated to the letter? So let's say I'm saying 𝗪𝐺567. You're supposed to say S as in Sally, H as in Hank. This part always stresses me out because I always want to say a word that's very unconventional, but that's what comes to my head. So one time I said S as in salamander and H as in Hinoki. And then I realized midway through, like, Irene, you're not supposed to say these very niche words. You're supposed to say the most generic names ever, like Sally or Hank. You're not supposed to say salamander. You're not supposed to say Hinoki. Like, find generic words. I was like battling in my head while I was actively trying to respond to the person on the phone. And I remember writing this down later because I was like, there has to be someone out there that experiences the same thing. And this has to be a neurodivergent trait because we're obviously going to want to talk about something that interests us the most, right? It's like that dopamine seeking part of your brain or like whatever you're hyper focused on in that moment. So let's say I'm like super hyper focused on perfumes. I might say something like A like ambroxan, M like musk. You know what I'm saying? Like people aren't going to be as tapped in and interested in what you're interested in. So this is why we use generic sort of words to make sure we're all on the same page. But yeah, I don't know exactly what words I used on that phone call, but I remember saying something that was just so weird and out of pocket. And the funny thing is that I didn't realize it was weird until I said it out loud. And then the self-aware part of me is like, perhaps this person doesn't know what this word is. And perhaps I shouldn't have said it. But it was too late. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have said salamander. Maybe I should have said Sally. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this next one is that emphatic people equally overstimulate me as much as they fascinate me. So as someone who tends to have flat affect, generally speaking, I know there's going to be people out there that are going to have a more flat affect than I do. But at the same time, you guys have to remember, you see me sitting in the comfort of my own home talking to a camera. That is going to be very different than the Irene that you would see or experience when I'm out in public in spaces with people face to face. Like the consistent feedback that I get from people that actually know me face to face in real life is that I'm very reserved, very monotone, very hard to read. I have flat affect. And so as someone with flat affect, I notice that when I'm with other people or just observing other people that are so emphatic, whether it's their facial expressions, whether it's their body, their voice, or like the tone of their voice, the melody of their voice, or how they express themselves in general, whatever it is, I find that I almost get put into a daze when I'm around them. You know when a really young kid sees a Disney princess at Disneyland or sees Spider-Man dressed up and they're just sitting there staring at them with their mouth open like, and they don't know how to respond because it's just they're so amazed. That's me when I'm around emphatic people. And Again, it's not necessarily a negative or a positive trait because I'm not necessarily judging this person and whether or not I like them or whether or not I agree with them or whatever it is. It's usually just a very objective, like, this is so different from me and I'm just taking it all in. Like, I am at a loss for words. Like, I just need to use every spoon possible right now, every brain cell left to observe this person, and that's it. When I'm in this daze, it's almost like I can't believe what I'm looking at. I feel like that's the autistic part of me that is always needing to observe social situations because I'm always taking mental note, trying to understand it, trying to figure out, how to emulate this, how to mirror it, whatever it is. A good example of this is when you see Nathan Fielder observing people in his show, The Rehearsal. That's me in social situations.
I asked if I could just watch him.
But especially when I come across emphatic people, I get so fascinated that I stop responding altogether. This is why I also feel uncomfortable and overstimulated by emphatic people because my response rate goes way down. All my spoons are being used to just observe this person and take it all in that I don't even know how to respond. It's almost like I just disappear into the wall and I become a fly on the wall. Like, for me, I don't want to be socially interacting. I would actually feel more comfortable just being in the background and watching it all happen. Which obviously looks a certain way. Like, a lot of people feel weirded out by you when you're just observing and not saying anything. Especially if you're a woman, I feel like, because there's an expectation to socialize a certain way as a woman. And so I've noticed that around emphatic people, I'm not compatible with them only because there's usually an expectation that I'm not meeting and it makes other people uncomfortable. And so I'd rather just not be around emphatic people because the mismatch is so intense that it throws other people off, and I don't want to negatively impact people, right? But I also don't want to pressure myself to mask in ways that I'm incapable of doing. Do any of you relate to that? Hopefully I'm not the only one here. Another social stressor that I experience is the pressures of greeting other people. So this one's big. This one, for me, as an ADHD person, is not necessarily coming from a place where I don't want to say hi to people, right? So for me, I can say hi to people. I have no problem with that. But the social stressor comes in the expectation of what other things you're consenting to when you say hi to someone. And this specific socialization characteristic applies to a lot of other social stressors. In general, it's this idea of when you consent to one thing, it automatically means that you're consenting to all these other things. It's like an umbrella thing. So what I've come to realize is that when you say hi to people, they tend to think that you're open for conversation. And if you, let's say, seem friendly, that means you're open to hearing about their life. You're open to hearing about their day. You're open to hearing about their problems. And I've come to realize that because there's all of these social contingencies, I've over time have opted to isolating myself and not socializing with people and coming across as cold, because it's not that I don't like people. It's not that I don't want to socialize with people. It's I don't want people to think that I'm open to socializing in all of these ways just because I've shown them that I'm willing to socialize in this one specific way. Just because I said hi to you doesn't mean I want to be friends. It doesn't mean I want to hear about your problems. I want to hear about your depression. I want to hear about all of these things. And just because I don't want to hear about it doesn't mean I don't care. And that's the thing, is as a neurodivergent person, socializing could be so difficult because when you have your particularities, people like to assume all of these other things that aren't true, right? I can care about someone, but it doesn't mean I want to hear about your depression. And likewise, just because I wanted to hear about your depression that one time doesn't mean I want to hear about it every time. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like socializing doesn't allow you to organically flow with your preferences and your boundaries on a day-to-day basis. It's like once you've been that person that someone can talk to about their problem that one time, all of a sudden you're that person that they come to every time they have the problem. And it's like, I don't know how to tell you this, but like, stop, I don't want it. And I think that part is really hard for people to navigate because we're so non-confrontational. We don't encourage direct communication, honest communication. We don't encourage healthy autonomy and interdependence. And so people either are way too codependent and enmeshed, or they are completely avoidant of each other, but there's no in between. And that part I think is hard for me to navigate. And it comes out in situations where I end up being that person that doesn't say hi to anyone because I'm low on social spoons and people think I'm unfriendly, when in reality, if I knew I could say hi without it leading to a conversation or leading to someone trauma dumping on me or making me do emotional labor for them, then I would say hi to people, but that's usually not the case. Okay, so this next social stressor is saying goodbye to someone. I've noticed that for me, saying bye is really, really uncomfortable for me, even if you're just casually hanging out with someone, because for me, it's like, what's the expectation here? Do they want me to hug them? Do they want me to show that I'm so guttered that we're gonna part ways? Like, are you supposed to make plans for the next thing before parting to show that you're still interested in hanging out? Like, I find that saying goodbye has so many expectations in there that I feel like I can never fully meet. And I say that, but usually I end up meeting it, but that's because I have to overthink it so much. But overthinking it doesn't necessarily feel good for me. Like, if I was completely unmasked and myself, I would just say bye to someone and leave. Sometimes I'm that type of person where I just want to have a conversation with you and then turn around and walk away when I'm done. Like, okay, this was good, bye. But obviously that's not socially acceptable. A lot of people would think you're rude. A lot of people would think that you're selfish, uncaring, narcissistic, like the world revolves around you. How come you think you could come and just talk about what you want to talk about and then leave whenever you're done? You know, there's all of these assumptions people make, right? But what would make me feel most comfortable, regardless of if it's right or wrong, is being able to socialize with someone when I need to, how I need to, and when I'm done, be like, okay, I'm done, bye, and then walk away. But like everything else that involves people, there's all these assumptions and expectations. And as an autistic person, I feel like the target is always moving and I can never quite pin it down. And I always have to be like, okay, how do I have to say bye to this specific person so that they can interpret me correctly, which is someone that cares about them and values them, you know, because how I would get someone to think that I care about them is different than how I would get this other person to understand that I care about them. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is so stressful because usually when I say bye to someone, it means I'm done. Like I have run out of spoons. And oftentimes saying bye to someone feels like you have to expend extra spoons at the end of the hangout in order to close it up or wrap it up properly. And that to me is a lot of work, a lot of expectation, and it's just really, really draining. I oftentimes find that I avoid saying goodbye. So I overstay my welcome because I don't know how to say bye or I don't want to go through the trouble of saying bye. Or I have to run on negative spoons because saying goodbye was so difficult. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, these are some really random, specific social stressors that I deal with. What are some social stressors that you guys may deal with that you don't really hear other people talking about? Other than that, you guys, thank you for watching today's video, and make sure you take some time today to regulate yourselves, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.